Some products cater to temptation. Other products require the buyer to invest significantly to capture the benefit. Now, you must spend time, money, and energy to understand your product, operationalize it, and fully capture the promise that you offer. So there's heavy investment. This is especially true of enterprise-grade products with complex buying situations with many stakeholders, all with differing needs and differing level of preparedness for making such investments. In fact, these scenarios are made even more complicated because these many stakeholders are at least a step or more removed from the investigation process. Most people think that if I just serve the right marketing message to champions, then I'll close the deal. However, while your champion may be actively educating themselves and ingesting every piece of information that you ever put out there, their colleagues just simply are not. So you have to anticipate the needs of everyone in the purchasing process and serve them by assisting the champion in convincing the buying group that the purchase decision is a good choice. Again, since you may not even have the chance to meet any of those other stakeholders, you have to rely on your champion to influence them appropriately. And let's face it, not everyone is equally skilled with influence. So all of this requires a special style of change management for your customers that ranges all the way from marketing's first touch through product adoption. Now, there are many moving parts to this, but the right approach requires many departments to bind together and make a seamless customer experience. Yet the good news is, that is exactly what I'm going to break down for you in this video. I'm going to give you my 6-part formula that works for every single buyer situation. Now, I'll explain step by step the ingredients that you need to have in your go-to-market plans so that you can earn every second of your prospect's attention, helping them to successfully capture the benefits that you offer and identify the features that you need to have to turn prospects into buyers. Hello, and welcome to this channel all about building products that matter and developing high-performing product cultures. My name is Jason Carver, and I want to get you onto the pragmatic path to explosive growth. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so that you know when my next cheat code drops. So today we're going to talk about the APFADS transformation system. As I mentioned, if you're selling to low investment products, then you may not need to use every tip that I'm going to give you. But if the higher the investment and the higher the activation energy your buyers need to purchase your product, then you're going to need to leverage many pieces of the formula to find the traction necessary to get them the power through the buying cycle. Now, before we talk about the APFADS model, let's really level set on what we're trying to accomplish. For any given purchase, your prospects work through a buyer's journey, and depending on where they're at in the journey, determines what we need to do to move them through the journey and to make the purchase. Now, if they're cold traffic, we may need to use pattern interruption advertising to make them aware that they even have a problem to solve. Then, as they become more aware of the problem, we need to furnish them with the awareness that there are solutions to that problem. If we successfully usher them along, then they may not be concerned with looking for alternatives. So it's in our best interest to be the one that steps them through this journey as fast as possible. Now, if they're already warm, then this may be exactly where their journey begins with you. Then they learn about your product and potentially alternative products. Then one of the product companies is going to deliver a compelling offer and overcome the challenges and objections preventing the prospect from purchasing, where they will finally get their hands on the product and look to leverage the product benefits to overcome the problems that they were experiencing. Now, if you do a great job with that, then you'll earn the right to have them as evangelists for your brand and for your product. So now that we know what journey we're on, we can briefly talk about what we need to accomplish across the journey phases to ensure that we are properly supporting our prospects through the change management process. It all starts with helping them recognize that they have that pain that they're trying to eliminate, or a gain that they're trying to capture by agitating what they have. We need to do this from a standpoint of showing them that we understand them, not from a standpoint of trying to manipulate their fear centers. When you do it correctly, you're ready to engage your audience with assistance to better understand the pain or gain and the merits of an ideal solution. And this earns you the opportunity to educate them about your specific product and guide them to recognize why you are the trusted solution among all of the options that they have available. Then, once you have established yourself as a trusted advisor or the solution of their choice, then you need to incite action with your prospect. We will talk all about this more in a moment, but the thing to remember here is that people do not always act in their best interest, and it's your duty to catalyze them into action to solve the problem that you know that they have by purchasing your offer, which you know will help solve their problem. Then, once you have them purchasing the solution, it is critical to support them through the product journey or the adoption journey to ensure that they reap the full benefits of your offering and transform it into a state where they have escaped that pain that they had or captured the gains that they were seeking. Now, this is often where journey mapping comes into play. By evaluating the existing and desired customer experience, you can find out where you are excelling and where you're struggling, and then where you are getting your highest ROI, etc. For modern product management practices, they generally recognize this, and yet few actually do this work. I've dug into the reasons why this is an issue and discovered that it's really one of two reasons. First, many people think it's just too simplistic. They don't need to know the full pragmatic process for identifying customer experience and to improving. They believe that they just listen to their users and do whatever they ask them to do. Now, unfortunately, this generally is a misguided idea because of the time that the product metrics that they're trying to move, well, they're all buyer focused. They're not user focused, right? ARR and NRR, they're not user focused elements, they're buyer focused. Meaning, if your user administration functionality is elegant and you are still experiencing poor sales or high churn, well, then you're not focused on the needs of you have been focused on the needs of the user and not the needs of the buyer. Now, if you want to learn more about what this means, then make sure you check out my video on establishing a customer-centric culture. Now, the second reason why people struggle to map support in the journey is that they really have no idea what levers to pull to craft the ideal journey. Now, this is exactly what we're going to get into right now. That is the APFADS transformational management system. I use the word transformation instead of change management here because we are talking into account the whole transformational journey, not just a simple habit change. It's made up of addressing the awareness, purpose, faith, ability, desire, and support components of the journey. Now let's start with awareness in this video of the series. Before any journey can begin, we have to address the awareness of the prospects. We have to ensure that they are aware what their pains are and that they have unmet desires. We have to ensure that they are aware that there are solutions out there for those needs. And we have to ensure that they are aware that we have a product that can operationalize that solution. Okay, those are the ones that we discussed a few minutes ago, but next we need to address the most forgotten aspect of awareness, investment awareness. You see, many prospects balk and think, this is just too good to be true, or maybe opposite, they think, this is too much for me. This is why we need to address exactly what the investment will take and how we can support them through that whole situation. You want to address this from the perspectives of time, money, and effort. Anything really that they are going to invest or spend in order to learn about your product, operationalize it, and successfully capture the desired outcomes that you promise. You always have to think in terms of the investment savings as well. This is what they'll save if they purchase your product. You see, if they went out and had to build a solution to the problem that you solve, they would spend tens or 100 times what your product costs and many more hours. So make sure that you make them aware of what a DIY or a higher cost alternative would take. So for example, perhaps they could go out and adopt an open source solution, but you have performed a case study and found that people in their exact situation had gone out and it took them 12 weeks less adopting your product and only needing one person instead of 3. This is something that you could leverage in your marketing materials, really helping them understand what the investment is of your product, but also what the investment of other solutions would look like. Now, another key aspect of awareness at times is enlightening them to recognize that their value on the other side of the road, what they're looking for at the end of the transformation, and what that really the success that they seek is within reach, especially with you and your product assisting them. I know it may seem a little hokey, but the reality is that for many people, They're looking for a reason why it won't work. So it is your duty to help them see all the reasons that it will work. Now, I know a lot of this awareness sounds like it's only marketing and maybe sales strategy, but product professionals, it's important to think through investment investigations here as part of a key aspect of the product roadmap. Helping prospects get to quicker time to value must be a key part of your product strategy. In fact, this is exactly why the whole product-led growth or growth hacking movements even exist, right? It is all about giving your customers a way more quickly guide themselves to the aha moment. You see, when a prospect has the opportunity to successfully try a product without talking to anyone from your team, then they don't have to invest time jumping through your sales process. This saves them time, delivers the value when they want it, and keeps your costs low, which is, of course, a win-win for anyone. When they can try your product, even now pulling a credit card out, then you've even reduced the investment even further. They won't have to think, oh, well, gosh, I'm gonna have to come back later and cancel this if it doesn't work out. A future investment that's gonna be in the back of their mind. Yeah, actually, this is just a great business practice in general. Don't charge people until you know that they're receiving value from your product. There's no faster way to bump NPS than have your customers' best interest in heart, right? And we'll talk about PLG tactics more in the other 5 pillars, but before we move on, I want to take a moment to add an additional layer of transformation methodology. You see, so far, most of the things we've been talking about have really been externally faced, talking about our prospects and our customers, which is kind of that outside-in thinking. However, the best strategy doesn't mean anything without a high-performance team driving the execution of your strategy. So let's move on to seeing how awareness plays into effectively serving transformation for our customers. As a leader, you need to be ensuring that your team is aware of your purpose and exactly how that relates to customers. This is an important topic that we will spend one of the 6 elements of transformation management on specifically, so we'll go through it in deeper detail. But before we move on, I want to recognize that this is really just the start of the awareness pillar. See, over the years, many aspects of awareness have come up for companies that were important to them to address. This includes awareness, things like key trends in the industry or consumer trends, such as decentralized ledgers, or maybe awareness about particular movements or counter movements, such as the laptop lifestyle. Some people with high EQ can inherently unearth many types of awareness that need to be addressed. They just ask themselves, what awareness do my prospects and customers and employees need to know at each phase of the journey? And what awareness do my employees need to know to better serve our clients, right? So easy, put yourself in the shoes of your audience or of your employees, and you can come up with stuff. However, the curse of knowledge can creep up dramatically here. So I always advise to double check your instincts by going and talking with prospects, right? Voice of customer. Ask things like, what did you find shocking while you were learning about our product? What were the aha moments? Or checking with your clients at intervals along the path and ask them what they found surprising or what they were the key takeaways that they had from, say, the onboarding experience. When you use this type of voice of customer experience discovery, you can pull forward that knowledge and leverage it to inform someone earlier in the process who was trying to understand what the situation would look like from the outside looking in. Even better, if you can use quotes and testimonials from those key insights, then you can leverage them in your marketing materials. And remember to think about all of the customer stakeholders that you were involved with at every point of your journey. See, have a hidden buyer committee that's going to be in there. Well, then, maybe you have to recognize they're never going to view your website or attend your sales presentations, so you need to think about how can I serve my champion with materials that help raise the awareness outside of those. Now, we talked about that before, but really the same thing goes with our employees. It is often expected that just because you claim to have an open door policy, that employees will come to you asking about things like better understanding the plan or your purpose. Unfortunately, it happens quite infrequently. In fact, the funny thing about awareness is that you're generally not aware that you are not aware. So those questions don't spark for the employee base. Instead, here's what I offer. Check the penetration rate of your communication. You can do this by asking people, what is the current plan of attack? Do they understand that? What is our current company purpose? How does your job support that plan and aid to better serving our clients? See, asking these types of questions routinely will prime people for being prepared to ask you the hard questions to ensure that you are effectively serving your clients and employees. And think about it. If you keep coming to me and asking me how my efforts are impacting our clients and I'm not prepared for that, well, the next time you come, I'm going to make sure I'm prepared to answer that question. And as I'm thinking about that, I'm putting myself in the shoes of an owner. I'm thinking like an owner as an employee. And then I'm going to ask you questions, hard questions that come up, but maybe I just don't know the answer for. This is exactly the case that you really want to have. That's the engagement you want to have with your employees. Okay, so next, let's talk about the very important WIFM radio signal. Now, WIFM, what's in it for me? If employees do not know what's in it for them, then why they want to stay at your company? On the other hand, if they know exactly what the movement is, what the company stands for, and how they will have the opportunity to drive delivery of that movement, impact the lives of customers, well then they're going to be more invested to deliver a spectacular product experience. Yet they also need to see a plan of how those lofty vision will be achieved. If you cannot decompose the vision into actionable steps that people can see through, then they're only going to remain half invested. Or if you significantly underestimate what it'll take to complete the plan, say turning a 2-year vision into a 6-month roadmap, then you're going to lose people. Or worse, you're going to experience what we're now calling quiet quitting, right? People are there, they're doing their bare minimum, they're putting their hours in, but they're not really as invested as you want them. So, that's exactly what you want. You want everyone's oars fully in the water, stroking at the same direction, at the same time, in the same cadence, right? So you want everybody going the same direction. Every time that you allow a high performer to leave your organization because they didn't have a sense of belonging, then you're losing important traction. Your delivery cadence and your tribal knowledge skips a beat, and your ability to serve your clients is reduced. On the flip side, by standing for a clear and compelling purpose, you'll find that some people really recognize that they're no longer in alignment with that purpose, and they'll opt to leave. This could actually be a good thing, right? If their heart's not in it, then their departure can improve morale and performance. The key here in either direction is to groom a sense of belonging, and if they determine that they're not a fit, well then go ahead, help them find somewhere that is a better fit inside your company or out. Hopefully you are now more aware than you were before you started this segment, and up next we're going to pick up where we left off with the purpose pillar. You can either continue to do that video or pause here and reflect on how you are currently addressing awareness for your prospects and clients. For example, are you forgetting to tell prospects something important up front? Or maybe you're telling prospects too much information, clouding their decision with awareness that they don't need to have right now. Are you serving your stakeholders with the right level of awareness for how they are or could be serving clients? Are you giving your stakeholders the opportunity to understand the impact of how they are having an impact on clients by capturing testimonials from your clients so that you can use them to re-energize your team based on the impact that they're making? Now remember, your mind reading skills are not comprehensive, so do yourself a favor and ask for feedback. Okay, now before we move on to the purpose pillar, let's take a moment here to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when I drop my next cheat code. Also, if you want to learn about how to take this concept one more level, let's just tactically applying these concepts maybe to your marketing planning or your go-to-market strategy, then let me know in the comments. See, I have a 27-step fill-in-the-blank style tool that tells you exactly how and when and where to apply these 6 parts into your go-to-market strategy to have a fully encompassing market strategy. This includes how to script your marketing funnel elements like landing pages, webinars, and advertisements. Really exactly the questions you need to ask yourself to be able to provide the right message to your customers at the right time. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching. I really hope you found that valuable. Now, if you want more cheat codes for product success, then make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so that you know when my next one drops. And don't forget to leave a comment or reach out to me at carvervschaos.com to tell me exactly the type of topics that you would like to cover next. Till then, my friends, have fun and play well.